The Minardi legacy in Formula One is hanging by a thread. Founded in 1985, the team was celebrated for its indomitable spirit, thriving against the odds with scarce resources. When Paul Stoddart sold Minardi to Red Bull in 2005, it came with the promise of preserving its heritage in Faenza, Italy, and fair treatment of its staff. Red Bull initially stayed true to these conditions, enhancing the team's foundation and even bringing in star drivers like Sebastian Vettel and Daniel Ricciardo. But over time, the team's identity has been reshaped through various rebrands, from Toro Rosso to AlphaTauri, and now V-CARB. This shift points to a departure from its original mission as Red Bull's talent incubator, transforming into a more independent outfit. With new sponsorships and changes in driver selection, Red Bull's latest move suggests that Minardi's famous spirit is fading away, with its cherished values now just a distant memory. Minardi, once the beloved underdog of Formula One, raced from 1985 to 2005. Despite its modest budget, the team was admired for its passionate fanbase, accessibility, and cleverly engineered cars. Over 21 seasons, Minardi earned 38 championship points and offered a platform for future stars like Fernando Alonso, Giancarlo Fisichella, and Mark Webber. Their most memorable moments included several fourth-place finishes and that unforgettable fifth place at the 2002 Australian Grand Prix with Webber, a true highlight in F1 history. But now, this once celebrated underdog faces a future where its legacy might be all but forgotten. Red Bull is making a strategic shift by relocating parts of its operations to the UK, closer to Red Bull Racing's main campus. Helmut Marko, Red Bull's advisor, has confirmed that this move will trigger changes in the team's leadership, sponsorships, and even its name as part of a broader alignment with Red Bull Racing. The realignment involves moving the RB Aerodynamics team to Milton Keynes, aiming to boost competitiveness through shared resources and technical synergies. While Faenza will continue to manage production and race operations for now, the long-term future of its Italian base is uncertain, hinting at the slow fading of Minardi's legendary legacy. Formula One is experiencing a shake-up in the traditional pecking order that once placed the highest budgets at the top. Since the introduction of the cost cap, everything has changed. Mercedes remains confident in their upcoming 2026 power unit, with Toto Wolff recalling their dominance the last time a new powertrain entered the sport. But this time, it's unlikely they will replicate that dominance for two key reasons. First, powertrain manufacturers are now subject to the cost cap themselves. Back in 2014, Mercedes poured over $1 billion into R&D for their power unit, leading to 8 consecutive constructors' titles and 6 drivers' championships for Lewis Hamilton. Second, modern hybrid technology is now well understood, so the 2026 power unit isn't exactly breaking new ground. Furthermore, manufacturers are restricted in bench testing time and face a threefold increase in electrical power demands. From 2026, power will be split 50-50 between the ICE and the electric motor. This enormous increase has some, including Christian Horner, worried about the emergence of Frankenstein cars, where the internal combustion engine merely acts as a generator for the electric motor. For what feels like an eternity, Formula One has had its usual midfield and backmarker teams that rarely get a shot at a Grand Prix victory. But Liberty Media's modern F1 era is making bold moves to change that narrative. Now, teams face spending restrictions on upgrading their facilities, with extra allowances given to smaller squads to help them catch up. Whether this will truly level the playing field remains to be seen, but V-CARB is already buzzing about its new facilities in Milton Keynes. When Red Bull purchased the Minardi F1 team from Paul Stoddart in 2005, it wasn't just a simple sale. Stoddart had 41 offers on the table, and he set strict conditions for any potential buyer. He demanded a major cash infusion, and that the team remain in Faenza, Italy for a specified period. Despite protests and petitions from Minardi fans to preserve the iconic name, the team transformed into Red Bull's rookie squad, rebranded as Toro Rosso. 2 decades later, those original covenants have expired, and the Faenza-based team is steadily shifting operations to Milton Keynes. For years, the Red Bull Junior squad had a UK base in Bicester, which they acquired around 15 years ago, while maintaining production and assembly in Faenza. But now, it seems that isn't enough. The facility is simply not good enough, V-CARB boss Laurent Mekies told Motorsport Week. We are building something at an incredible standard in Milton Keynes for our people. It's going to be instrumental in creating better working conditions and attracting top talent for future challenges. Mekies acknowledges that the Faenza headquarters is good, but he describes the new Milton Keynes setup as excellent. As other F1 teams have discovered, having all operations under one roof dramatically dramatically boosts communication and productivity. And though Red Bull hasn't made it official, it's becoming clear that closing the Italian base is on the horizon. These new facilities, according to Mekies, are a must in that path to challenge the bigger guys. Back in August, ahead of the expected upgrades, Laurent Mekies had his eyes set on a 2024 target of top of the midfield. But now, with a renewed sense of optimism, his ambitions have soared. "I think you always want more in Formula One," he admits. "If you prove yourself, you can be P6. If tomorrow you can prove yourself, you can be P5. You will always want more. So, your 5-year span is to get as close as you can to the top. And if you want to hire the really good guys and girls, you need to have that ambition anyway. The current state of the grid is a tough battlefield." McLaren, Red Bull, Ferrari, and Mercedes have the top 4 spots on lockdown, as reflected in the Constructors' Championship. Aston Martin holds 5th place with 86 points, while Mercedes, in 4th, boasts a hefty 329 points. V-CARB, positioned behind Aston Martin, has a mere 34 points after 18 races, highlighting just how steep the climb is for smaller teams trying to break into regular points finishes. Despite this gap, Red Bull CEO Peter Bayer remains optimistic about V-CARB's potential to challenge the top 5 soon. Yet, in the meantime, Haas and Williams are closing in, rather than V-CARB pulling away. With the new facilities, we might not be able to fight for the top 1, 2, 3 realistically, Bayer admitted to Motorsport Week. The reality is stark. V-CARB hasn't scored since before the summer break, while Haas has picked up points in 3 of those weekends, and Williams twice. In fact, Williams has claimed the most points among the 3 teams during this period, and is bullish about its chances in the final 6 events of the season. Despite this, Bayer remains confident that V-CARB's relentless progress will eventually lead to a climb up the ladder. To be there, P6, sniffing at P5, and then getting hungry for P4, that needs to be the ambition, mixing it with that young, authentic, cool spirit, he said. Having the ambition to propel an F1 team forward is crucial, but V-CARB isn't the only one on this mission. Every team is attempting to scale the same mountain, and even established outfits face setbacks. Alpine recently scrapped its own 5-year project mountain climb and is closing its power unit operation in France, despite having powered the 4th most wins in F1 history. While V-CARB has the advantage of expertise from its sister team, the path to cracking the top 4 is long and treacherous. Red Bull's strategic moves have undeniably shaken up the Formula One world, but at what cost? The legacy of Minardi, its spirit, its tenacity, and the passionate Italian fanbase that rallied behind it seems to be slowly eroding. As V-CARB shifts its operations closer to Red Bull Racing, Faenza's symbolic heart of underdog racing is at risk of becoming a mere footnote in F1 history. The new facilities in Milton Keynes might promise a more competitive future, but is it worth losing the very essence of what made this team special? If the Minardi legacy fades, one can't help but wonder, has Formula One lost a bit of its soul in the pursuit of progress? So what do you think? Is Red Bull's ambition leading to the demise of an important piece of F1's heritage? Or is this the natural evolution for smaller teams to stay competitive? Let us know in the comments. Until next time, goodbye for now.